Hi, it's Dave here. This is my wife, Kathy.
Hello.
This is the Cinemile. It's the podcast where we walk home from the movies. Today we're going to walk to a movie. It's called Evil Dead Rises. And I don't know why Kathy is here watching this with me. I'm really surprised. What are you doing? What are you doing here?
Well, I know that you love The Evil Dead, so...
Oh, so selfless. You're doing this for me?
Partially selfless, and then also I read that it was like under 90 minutes, so...
It says 2 hours here on the thing.
No, I think it's under 90 minutes. And
Google's wrong again.
We're kind of waiting for Guardians of the Galaxy to come out, so...
Yes, so
I wanna see
and
something.
we should say we might be a little bit late on our Guardians of the Galaxy review. So that is out tomorrow. Kathy is going away for a week. So
I'm so sorry, Dave.
you're all gonna have to. I know you're all on the edge of your seats for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 review, but instead I'm actually really excited that we get to see this. I'm a bit nervous for you because I don't think you should be watching this.
Because I don't like horror.
You don't like horror.
But isn't The Evil Dead like horror comedy?
Well, can I give you a quick whistle-stop tour of the Evil Dead
Very
franchise?
quick, because the film's about to start. I have seen elements of the first one, by the way.
So the first Evil Dead, one of the famous video nasties, was banned in Ireland, here, UK, everywhere, right? A lot of places. And it is a nasty little film. It's a real dirty, gross
I definitely remember some
horror
gross
film.
stuff with the tree. I remember that much.
Yes, yeah, okay. So, a bit seedy and grubby as well. And Sam Raimi. Then he comes along and makes Evil Dead 2, which, is very different. It's got a different tone. It's more, because he was a big fan of slapstick comedy and the Three Stooges. So this one's got a more comedic but very cool horror tone. And it's kind of a remake of the first one. This is a really weird sort of tour that this franchise goes. He remakes the first one kind of with the same actor, Bruce Campbell, and they're like each other's muses. And then that one ends with a cliffhanger in which the protagonist, I guess spoilers for these old horror films, in which the protagonist Ash is hurled back in time to the Dark Ages.
Okay, I
for
did
some
not
reason.
know this.
Yeah, and then the third one is Army of Darkness, which is Ash versus the Army of Darkness, I think it's called, and he has a chainsaw for an arm now. And it's by this stage the thing is just so farcical and fun, and that for me is the pinnacle of this. Like Evil Dead 2 and 3 are just doing their own thing. They're gas. He puts a chainsaw on his arm and says groovy, raises his eyebrow, cocks his eyebrow. So it's just.
And I like Bruce Campbell.
It's really fun.
So I hope he's in this movie.
I'll bet he has a cameo. I'll be
Is this
surprised.
the fourth one?
No. So then they.
Okay, you need to hurry up.
Then they remake the Evil Dead with
the first one?
a new, the first one with a sort of, I think he was a South American film director. I forget his name. Apologies if I also got the continent wrong. In like I want to say like 2012, 2013, and that's more to the core of the original. It's nasty and gross, and I don't think it's very funny. I either have not seen it or I've seen it and I've completely forgotten it.
Okay.
It could be either of those.
But you just said it was nasty, gross, and not funny.
So I think I did see it. That's my feeling towards it. Then Sam Raimi comes back and produces a TV show called Ash vs. the Evil Dead, which ran for I think 2 or 3 seasons, which is very much in line with the horror comedy vibes again. And now this one is come along by an Irish director.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
And is getting good buzz, and I think it's more in line with that nasty horror.
Huh.
I don't think it's a horror comedy.
I thought I was coming to a horror comedy with Bruce Campbell in
No,
it.
afraid not. That's why I'm saying, in a roundabout way, I'm really worried about this movie, because you don't like horror. This is going to be probably gory and grubby. Anyway, I haven't seen any trailers or anything, so that's where we are.
Okay, well, what I do with horror films when I find them scary is I just cover my eyes until you tell me to uncover them.
Yeah.
So that makes for a great review.
89 minutes later.
Makes for a great review. I think the last horror film we went to watch was Smile, which we both quite enjoyed.
Although, that was pretty intense.
Yeah,
for
that
you
was
as well.
intense
That was
as well, yeah.
pretty creepy.
Anyway,
I'm quite excited. It's always nice when you come out for a little horror movie with me, a little horror jaunt. Because mostly I watch these films when you go to bed in the dark by myself.
Anyway, let's go. Wait.
Oh wait, you going to do that now for every movie?
I am,
that, that catchphrase may or may not be trademarked. It certainly is in that accent. All right, bye. We'll see you soon.
When I was just a little girl, What is this, Danny?
I found it.
What will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me.
Open up now.
You don't look so good, Mom.
Nothing a big old kiss from you won't fix.
Hello, we're back. If this is... Are you okay? Don't think I'm okay. If this is your first time at the Cinemile, we don't spoil the movie until we do at Spoiler Street, which comes up in a little bit. So we're just going to talk about our general thoughts of Evil Dead Rise. Firstly, Kathy, I'm so sorry that you had to experience that.
I have to say I didn't experience a lot of it because I actually fully disassociated. Like I was sitting there,
you were
but
gone.
I wasn't there. I was just not looking at the screen, not engaging, was not listening, was just like staring into the palms of my own hands. I mean, we'll get into it a bit more in Spoiler Street, but that movie was an assault. I'm so glad it's only 90 minutes. Because I couldn't have handled it anymore. Now, do I think it was well made? Actually, I do. I think it was really well made, and I think the central characters were actually really
well
cool, well drawn. Not
Yeah.
kind of your typical family or group of people you see in a horror film. And I cared about them, and I actually really didn't want what was happening to be happening,
but it
which
did.
is more than I can say for a lot of horror films where you don't really care about anyone. So I just think it's a really well made film. Props to the Irish director and writer.
Yes, Lee Cronin, writer, director. And
very cool.
Incredibly, this movie was incredibly well realised
made,
and
yeah.
accomplished. And I
I
completely
just
agree.
personally-
You've articulated it very well.
I personally didn't enjoy a second of it. But I objectively see that it's
Yeah.
a very good horror film. Right, Dave, your thoughts as the Evil Dead expert?
Here's what I'll say, okay? I agree with everything you say, and I feel the same, which is surprising to
You
me.
didn't disassociate, you watched.
I watched, but I found it thoroughly unpleasant. And I kind of wanted it to end for a lot. I turned to you a few times and I said,
you were like, don't
should
look,
we-
and I was like, I'm
no, but
not
I actually
looking.
said, should we just leave? This is like, it's really unpleasant and nasty. And I was kind of presenting it as I'm trying to do you a favour, but deep down, I kind of wanted to leave. And again, I'm back to saying, this is honestly, the setup is brilliant. The way that Lee Cronin and his cinematographer put the camera in places I've never seen it put before.
Yeah, very cool.
It's all the performances are horrible and creepy, and
Yeah,
it's
really good
incredibly
performances.
inventive. I think, but I just think I've changed as a person. I don't. Firstly, I found it very. This isn't a spoiler, but the general plot is that this is centered around a family in an apartment,
different
and I
than
found
usual. It's very distressing.
It's novel, but it is much more distressing than watching a load of teens experience something like this,
Yeah.
who are just like, they always seem to have it coming to them.
They're always
Like,
awful and doing awful things, and then it
this-
kind of is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. This is a family unit in the safety of their own home.
And it is
Yeah.
very distressing being a parent watching this. And so I think I have changed. This feels very consistent with, I said there was two types of Evil Dead movie. This is very much not the horror comedy you thought you were walking into. There is no comedy, not a moment
the
of
whole
levity.
film, I was like, when is Bruce Campbell showing up?
I'd
Please
love if he
show up.
showed up. So minor spoiler, he's not in this. There is no levity. There is no let up.
Yeah.
This movie is very much in line with the original Evil Dead and the remake, in that it is just mean and nasty and gory and disgusting and violent and horrible and and
I'm
upsetting.
sorry, why did you used to like it's because you were a teenager.
No, but I did. Here's the thing: as a teenager, I always veered towards the horror comedy. I'd watch an Evil Dead 2 or an Army of Darkness over the original. I was never as big a fan of the original, so I guess I always had more of a link. I don't veer towards really mean, nasty horror films. But as an adult, I'm even further away from that. This is not my bag, basically.
Shall we go to Spoiler
anymore.
Street?
Yeah, let's do that. But again, back to I'm very impressed with Lee Cronin, and I thought this was a very accomplished horror movie, and I'm
Same.
very excited to see kind of his career and the rest of his career. And
It's like
because he looks like to
we
be
love
honest,
you.
I haven't
You're-
heard of
You're
him.
an Irish film writer,
got
director.
loads
That's
of
really
movies.
unusual. We love your work. We just didn't enjoy it in any way.
That's kind of it.
But it did what it
I
said
think
on
that's
the
fair.
tin.
It's just not for us.
But it was very effective. And
Oh
if
my
someone
God.
wants to watch an innovative, extremely gory, very disturbing movie, this is your bag. Go for it. 5 stars.
I just found it very distressing.
I was
so
at one point I
distressed.
went to the bathroom just for like 10 minutes just to leave it because I was like, I actually can't be in here. This is so horrible. Okay, now we're going to go to Spoiler
So-
Street and then we will be back with spoilers.
Okay, so spoilers now for Evil Dead Rise. Firstly, great use of graphics in this
Yeah,
movie.
very
Do you
well
remember
done.
the way the title credits came up
Very
as she
cool.
rose from that river?
Really
That's
cool.
fantastic. And the end title credits coming back again. Very good. Great score. Really felt the score
Yeah.
in my bones. And the way he had that music rise up. Here's another good thing about this movie. There's loads of good things about this movie. All the religious stuff was well woven in. The exposition, we were saying, was
Exposition was so
brilliantly
clever.
delivered.
Now, give me a teenager in a horror film who's an absolute idiot.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist. Like the kid in this, the boy, he goes, there's an earthquake. He's like, right, there's been an earthquake. Oh, there's a hole opened up in the basement. What I'll do is
Whoa.
I'll immediately
What's in
climb
this
down
hole?
it. Like the earthquake's just happened, like it's still
yeah,
shaking.
that's the worst place to go.
And he kind of thinks
in
it's a
an
bank
earthquake.
tomb and there might be like money, right? And like we know they're broke, fine. Then he climbs down. Now once you realise it's actually a crypt with like a load of hanging crosses and like an actual, I think, body and insects.
Then you keep looking.
Yeah, you keep
looking. Yeah.
And then what you do is you steal a load of records, and I love that they'd set up that he was like a DJ or wannabe DJ.
Yeah.
And then you manually play the records as you dripping your own blood into the Book of the Dead, and then you just keep going, and you see what happens. So that kid,
You
in
gotta
fairness,
push past the boundary. Now, to be
he
fair,
he fit into what I expect a teenager. Now,
very consistent
if
behaviour.
just he had died, I'd been very happy because he'd have wholly deserved it in the context of this film.
But his
What
poor
this-
sister.
But what this film did, and this is what I've never seen, and I'm not a horror movie expert like you, so I don't watch a lot of them, but like what this film really chilled me to the absolute bone on, and what was so disturbing is that it was the mom who was possessed.
Yeah.
And then there's a little kid.
I didn't
and
want
the
that little kid to be in this movie.
No, and the little kid's like being tricked by the demon mom because the demon mom's like, honey, let mommy come in. Mommy and daddy are getting back together. And I was just
Which is
like,
is
it was
consistent
so
with
clever.
Evil Dead 2. That's what happens.
Right,
Something
and
similar.
like any little kid like would trust someone who looked like their parents. It was all very disturbing. I didn't enjoy a minute. Like once that stuff happened, that's when I disassociated. I was like, I hate this. And even the kid actor, and I'm sure kid actors are really protected these days. And
I
the kid
hope
actor
so.
wouldn't have been in any scenes with any of the stuff. That's how they do it. Like she wouldn't have been in any
But
of the
then
scenes
what
with
about that?
anything
What about that
gory.
bit where she kills her own sister with her own toy? I mean,
It would have just been
Very novel.
it would have been a jab from the kid actor,
I guess.
and then it would have cut, and someone else would have been actually
Yeah.
jabbing the sister. Like it wouldn't. Now when the sister was standing up on the kitchen counter, crouched with her neck turned, and she was like chewing glass.
oh, that was so creepy.
That was so creepy, but it made me laugh because that was to me that was a bit of, it was so silly.
Yeah.
It's when it's the
But
emotional stuff.
But it was also disturbing.
Yeah, it was
Like
disturbing.
there's creepy crawlies in my belly. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think I might actually have nightmares.
I think I was actually. Why did we come and see this at 9 o'clock?
It's so scary.
On a Tuesday
It was-
night.
Honestly, I think it might be. I thought Smile was very good at its scares as well, but this is kind of next level. There are things in this which are gonna, unfortunately, stay
Really
in my
haunting,
mind. I
like,
think.
the actress who
Um,
played the mom, the fully
Oh, she was
possessed one,
fantastic.
physicality was like something
Yeah.
else. but it was actually too much. It was like, girl, could you just take it back a notch? I know you're possessed.
Yeah, she was too good.
You're too good.
She was too scary.
She's too scary.
Do you know, she was like Megan, the kid that played
me?
Megan
She
in the
makes-
way she moved.
She
You
makes
know that.
Megan look like a teddy bear. I would rather have Megan come after me.
I think Megan's more my type of speed of horror movie these days, where it's just like PG-13
No, I
and
actually
a bit.
feel like the shivers. I feel icky after that film. I'm not happy
also,
about it.
do you know what? I also used to be okay as a teenager and a younger man with gore, and I can't do it anymore. I found it. I was very having to look away a lot. Like it was very, very gory.
I was
like the
just
cheese
like,
grater.
Oh
Like
my
I
God,
actually.
the second I saw a cheese grater, I was like, I'm fucking
I
done.
injured myself with a cheese grater last week, and I got a plaster on, and it was like reliving the trauma of that because I skinned myself badly.
And last week I actually chewed a wine glass and swallowed it, so it was very triggering for me when that scene came on. Look, I don't think there's much more to say about this film. I absolutely hope it doesn't rise again, and this isn't like the start of any franchise. I really do.
I hope it. Well, I hope it doesn't. There's clearly an audience for this. I think this is making a load of money. It's very good, and yeah, all the best to Lee
It
Cronin.
is making a load of money, yeah.
And I think it's like a really fantastic accomplishment. But I'm out. I think I'm out. I don't want this type of horror movie in my life anymore. I've
Did
moved
you want
on.
to talk about? You whispered
I don't know
to
what I
me
want.
about Sam
I feel-
Raimi's car.
I feel very fragile.
You got
yes.
excited by some Easter
So
eggs.
I think that's Sam Raimi has an Easter egg in all his movies. Even the Western he did, somehow he did this. His car, his old Buick 1970, whatever it is in all of Sam Raimi's movies. It's in Spider-Man, it's in all the Evil Dead movies, and I think that's the car that features prominently in this movie.
Okay.
I'm sure it is. Also, I thought it had some great little nods to all the tropes of the Evil Dead, including the fun ones. So
There
the
are
chainsaw
fun ones.
and the shotgun, very prominently featured. She says, "Come get some," which is a Nash line from
I didn't
Evil
even hear
Dead. And I also thought this movie was very good at subtly dropping in its Chekhov's scissors under the sofa, Chekhov's wood chipper van in the car
Chekhov's
park.
people.
Like it Chekhov's people. Yeah, it sets these things up very well. I thought so. The visual exposition was as good as the exposition.
And in fairness,
exposition.
it gave us characters that actually, like, and I say this, I'm not being snarky, but what a lot of films don't do, characters that sort of actually character traits that pay off, like the kid who's a DJ playing the decks, and the auntie who's like a guitar technician, like fixing the audio.
I actually loved when
like-
she was like, I can make this audio
and
play
it seems
without.
so basic, but like so many films don't actually have that.
Yeah.
So like, yes,
That was
appreciate
very
that.
novel.
Like,
Also, sorry, that was another fantastic scene where all the tension is mounting at the same time. So she's wearing the noise cancelling headphones and listening to one of the creepiest things you can imagine, while her sister is like growing through the vents, and you know she's behind her and she can't hear it. Although I mean, like, take one of the earphones off, but also, and
No,
at the
but I
same
think
time, I don't think you were paying attention for this bit, but the corpse of the sister is floating
No.
around like a ghost. Oh, you went to the toilet
I
for that
didn't see
bit.
any of that.
Oh my god, the
And
bit
I'm
where she's
glad.
suddenly walking behind them like a ghost was terrifying.
No, the bit where the mom was in the bath and turned the water boiling, and then she's like hanging
Oh my
off
God,
the
that
ceiling.
was so creepy.
The mom, the character, the actress who played the mom also looked like Carrie, and it had to have been deliberate.
Yeah, she was
It
very
really
striking
looked like
looking.
Carrie, yeah. Anyway, loads going on. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't ever want to think about it again.
I also, can I say there was
No.
another? I also got vibes of Aliens, with that little girl's very like Newt from Aliens, which you've seen as well with me. Sigourney Weaver, protecting the little girl. It kind of very much had that vibe by the end. I thought the actress that played the aunt was very good as well. Actually.
Yeah, it did have a plot point that annoyed me though, where clearly she doesn't want to be pregnant, and then by the end of the film, she's like,
decided to be.
I'm
pregnant.
going to be a mom.
I mean,
and it's like women in films are allowed to still not want to be pregnant by the end of the film, and also I don't think this is what will have turned you
I will
to
say
wanting to be a mother.
that did. Yeah, I know, right?
This is the experience.
This did fit. This is it, and this is what I want to remember
Just felt
forever.
Like, to be honest, to me, like I felt like they could have just scrapped that plot completely.
I mean,
no bearing on it.
I wish more than anything.
I just wish being pregnant wasn't a character trait.
And actually, you're right. And the some of the dialogue was a little bit much there, where the girl suddenly, in several moments throughout the film, stops in the middle of the chaos to say, "Do you know, you'd be a great mom."
It's like, oh, thanks.
I just really didn't want that girl to be in this movie, and I don't mean the actor. I just mean I don't want that character.
Yeah,
I didn't want
agree.
that character. I don't even want a fictional child to be
No,
exposed to
yeah.
anything that happened there, which is honestly, I think, the most traumatic thing that a fictional child has ever had to experience from beginning to
end. In
end.
the family home, like, it's awful. Anyway, we're done.
No amount of trauma of counselling is
I'm
going
not
to.
talking about this anymore. We're done. Hope you enjoyed listening to us. If you have seen the film,
I'm so upset.
if you have seen it, message us. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Letterboxd at the Cinema. Tell us what you thought, or come over to Patreon, where we are doing weekly reviews of Succession and having so much fun. Only 4 episodes left. We do weekly Succession reviews. We also cover all other sorts of TV shows, and every month we do a retro movie. So that's patreon.com/the cinema.
Yeah, we just did Midnight Run, and we're going to be putting up a new post soon to get some
Regarding
suggestions.
Next retro movie.
Yeah.
And finally,
We're going to do all the Evil Dead movies.
We're
No,
not. If you enjoyed the podcast, we'd hugely appreciate if you subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen.
And thank you for listening.
Bye.
I'm going to therapy now.
What will be, will be.
I'm Laura.
I'm Lauren.
And this is Go Love Yourself. She went, "You're 26." I was like, "Size 26, yeah." And she was like, "Oh, right, that makes sense."
This is the show where we're learning to love ourselves a little more and taking you along with us.
I grew up never seeing anybody that looked like me, and that made me feel like not part of society, like almost like not a woman, because I just never felt like I fit in.
If you've got a relative that is mean about your body, Laura, what do we say to them?